Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast episode. And our guest today is Anastasia from London. And she is a business investor. She's also a digital consultant and she's a hypnotherapist as well. Which is going to be really interesting. And she's going to talk to us all about maximizing business performance and psychology, mindset, and growing and scaling and optimal performance in your life and your business. Anastasia, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Christopher. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, I love this podcast. We're very informal, so everyone calls me Chris. And you introduce yourself, how you got started, and I'm really excited to delve into the meat of the conversation.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me. So my name is Anastasia. I'm originally from south of Ukraine. I'm based in London for the last 11 years. So this is my home already. I used to be a real estate agent since January 2020 until this year. And then last year, I started to understand more in depth in terms of hypnotherapy myself. I took a lot of courses on self-development. And there are two particular courses that helped me a lot. One is which helped me to heal myself and to heal a lot of unexplained things that doctors couldn't help me to heal.
Mhm.
And the other one was a digital psychology. The things that if somebody comes to me, let's say if one of my clients comes to me with a certain problem, I like to analyze it from 360 degrees now using hypnotherapy and digital consultancy. So first of all, let's say I'm just going to give you a short example. So if they come to me, look, I have a fear of this, or I have a fear of public speaking, and I look at their date of birth and I'm like, I don't see that. You don't have this in your numbers. So this is when hypnotherapy really helps, because it could be that somebody imposed this thing on the person since they were a child, because everything, like all our like major traumas, they come from since it develops since we are like babies up until 7 years, right? Parents sometimes tell us, don't do that, don't say that, talk less, or don't speak at all. So things like that can really trigger things in a baby, especially when children, they don't have any barriers, any restrictions. They just free spirits. They understand things, they see things. And then, yes, so this is what I started to do last year. And then eventually helping business owners, because I used to have a business myself. And there were a lot of things that I was looking for answers to do differently, but nobody could give me the right pill. I'm somebody who, if I ask a question, the universe also always gives me an answer. And that is very specific for everyone who was born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, and 31st of any day of any month, right? So if they ask a question because they're directly connected to the information.
Mhm.
Right? So if they ask a question, they will see an answer, but they have to be aware to see the answer and to understand that this is the answer that they've been looking for to the question that they answered, let's say a year ago, 2 years ago, and 3 years ago. And then I started to helping business owners because there are so many problems. I had my business, and then a lot of business owners, they just focus on their own business. So I'm helping them, let's say, if they want to scale, if they want to prepare their business for growth, or eventually to sell their business.
Yeah. A really fascinating introduction. And a couple of questions that came to my mind is I'm actually an avid learner. I'm always reading and studying, and I'm always trying to reconcile with with my past. When does somebody start to consider hypnotherapy? Is it after everything? Because I recently had a guest on the podcast. She was talking about how she was using microdosing to enhance performance, and it would create these states where she was more susceptible to interventions. And so when should people start thinking about hypnotherapy?
To be honest, it's when they can't find an answer, right? When they tried everything, nothing helped them, and nothing helped them to solve their problem, first of all, because there are a lot of things that they will say, like different types of other alternative therapies or coaching. They say, yeah, we will fix your problem, we will solve your problem with a few sessions, and then nothing happens. So hypno is a very powerful tool,
Mhm.
first of all, if it's used by a good practitioner.
Mhm.
If the practitioner knows how to use hypnosis in order to help the person, because there are some hypnotherapists that could do the opposite. But everyone has, when somebody's looking for a hypnotherapist, they should really research them. They should check their reviews. They should have a feeling of them, because the intuition will tell them if it's the right therapist or if it's not the right therapist. Hypnotherapy is when somebody will use it, it's up to them. They would potentially find an answer themselves if they know how to use the gifts that they're born with. Or if they want a super fast pill, they want results next month or in the next few months, that's when they really should consider hypnotherapy, because it goes directly to the core of to the root of the problem, and it fixes it.
An adjacent question I have for you is, for example, what does it look like to truly to heal from your past? People on the show, they encountered either a financial setback or a professional setback, emotional relationship setback, and these are deep wounds, or people experience racism, these things. And how does healing, like what does healing look like to you? What does it feel like with hypnotherapy?
Every person is different. First of all, we have to understand that every person is different. And everything that is given to us in this life, it's the life that we choose. We choose to go through this pain. We choose to experience these emotions,
Mm,
first of all, because that's the life we choose to live on earth. That's the emotions we choose to live on earth. So we really have to find out if this is the karma that we're experiencing in this life, if this is maybe something we did in one of our previous lives, and now we want to experience it ourselves, because everything it comes at cause and effect. So what you do today will reflect on your behavior tomorrow, and so on. But there are other things that we don't see ourselves,
mm,
like, I don't want to scare anyone, but there are things that, so when we look at something, we only see 1%. But there are other 99% of energies and things that are surrounding that one thing, the 99% that we don't see.
mhm.
And this is when hypnotherapy comes into place. If you looking for an answer, or if you want to solve an issue, or if you want to find out let's say, what was the cause of your breakout or financial loss, you really need to look, you can use hypnotherapy to go back to where it started, and then to understand, why did I choose this? Why this is happening to me? What was the lesson that I supposed to learn from this situation and I didn't learn, or maybe I learned it? They're like, as I said, when I look at one issue, I look at 360 degrees. But there are also, when it comes to financial losses, this is something not related to hypnotherapy. There are certain numbers of years, of personal years and of business years, that we should not invest. I'm going to give you one example. You should not be opening your business, or any business, or invest in any business when you are in your personal year 9. So how do we calculate that? I'm just going to give you a brief example. So we take the date and the month, and we add the year. So all these three numbers, we sum them, and then we come up to one number. Let's say if it's 22, it's 4. If it's 27, it's 9, right? If it's 16, it's 7, right?
Mhm.
So the date when the business was open, that's the date of birth of the business. Let's say the date, when we calculate our date of birth, it's just our date of birth, right? So let's say it's 4 September 1989, right? So we take 4 plus 9 plus 8, because this is the 2024, the energy is 8. And then it comes up to 3, right? So when we are in the years of 4, 7, and 9, we should not invest in anything, because there are three major years of crisis. And the number 9, the year 9, this is the year when it's like the last year of the cycle. There are 9 years of a cycle, and we should not invest anything. So that's when the financial loss happens. So I don't need hypnotherapy for that to tell the client. But if that happened when it wasn't the business, or the client wasn't in the personal year 9, then we can use hypnotherapy to see maybe there are other energies involved.
And when you say energies, elaborate on that. Is it like, because for example, like I'm a very intuitive and empathic individual, so I can, like, very chaotic. I can give you examples. Certain cities are very unsettling to me because it's just so chaotic, and all these different energies are coming at you, and it's just like I said, it's very unsettling. And in some places are more calming. Describe what you mean by energies and entities.
Yes. So what I mean by that, there is our energy, right? And there is the energy that is surrounding us. And there are other energies that can interfere in our life.
Mhm.
Like, as you said, entities, we are all surrounded by spirits, right? We're not alone in this world. I'm not going to scare, I hope I'm not going to scare anyone, but we're not alone in this world. We don't see them. As I said, there are that 99% of things that we don't see. There are certain people born on certain days that they see them.
Mhm.
And you probably have those numbers because you, as you said, your memory is in your body. So whenever you go somewhere, no matter it's a room, it's a place, it's a new city, it's a park, you will feel the energy in your skin. You
Mhm.
automatically will feel the energy in your skin. And that's a good thing because your energy is in your body. Your memory is in your body. And you should trust that. You will know, let's say, when you have to go somewhere and there's something is going to happen, you will stay home. You say, I don't want to go there. How many times did this happen to you?
I can count a couple, like, a lot of times, like near miss, or it's like a lot of time. The other question I had, but maybe, like I said, it's very frequent and rare. But a follow up question I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to let you finish. So go ahead.
Yes. Yes. And there are these things. And there are other forces like black magic, like the words we say for somebody, oh, I wish she will break the leg or he will break the leg or something. So what we say and what we think about other people becomes true as well. So we have to be very careful what we think, what we say as well about other people and about ourselves too. So these are the energies that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because when you describe when I feel energies and entities, it's in my chest. If my chest gets tight and my
Mhm.
heart starts, it starts having palpitations. Yeah, I know that. Then I know something's like off, or that's the first thing. But
Yeah, that's your inner compass.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Another follow-up question is, so what's worse? So my question is, we go through these emotional traumas and you help people with hypnotherapy. Is it better? Like, my thinking is like, is it better for example, just example, uh, woman gets raped and then she has issues with relationships and partners and she has to go through this healing process. Is it better that she was not assaulted in the first place? Or is that karma? Is it dharma? Like, why did this have to happen? Why does she have to go through this struggle?
I wouldn't be able to tell because, as I said, everything is a cause and an effect.
Mhm.
So maybe that is something that she wanted to experience in this life. Maybe that is something that she did to somebody in one of her previous lives, or maybe that's something that she wished for in a joke to somebody. But there's a very good point here because there are certain, and again, I don't know why, but I'm including the digital consultancy here. It might help a lot of people, women, and especially children who have two of or more of number 9 in their date of birth.
Mhm.
So let's say if they're born on 9th of September, I don't know, 1990, right? There are a lot of plants. So they have a lot of sexual energy from since they are kids, since they're babies. They're very passionate people. And men, especially men, they feel that. So it's very important for parents to train them about these things, to train them to be careful and to train them not to be around men when they fear something, especially in clubs, in pubs, and things like that. Because when we drink alcohol, we don't control ourselves, right? But a young girl, she doesn't know that. She doesn't see that. She doesn't feel what a man feels next to her. Sometimes I heard cases when men lose control and some horrible thing could happen to the child or to the woman as well. And this is another thing. So as I said, I don't know, but hypnotherapy would say will guide us to the root of the problem.
Yeah. Another question I had for you is, because you mentioned earlier on, because you say you ask the universe and the universe always responds. My experience has always been, I will ask and I never get a response. And it's only, like I mentioned, those handful of times when it was like, don't do this, or avoid this, or do this. It's very, like, I can count like 5 times. So, and then, a lot of times it's like you ask the universe for answer and it doesn't give it to you. What is that? Like, it's like you're reaching out, but like they don't, nothing. there's no response. It's just like dead quiet. What is that?
But yeah, to be honest, it's universe. To be honest, works in mysterious ways. So let's say you ask the question today, and it might respond in 3 years. It happened to me. It happened to me a lot of times.
Yeah.
So you have to, but there are answers that you can get. You can get yourself, or you can ask me. Let's say if you have many questions that you didn't found they were answered before, you call me, and Anastasia will answer the questions.
Yeah. And the other question I have for you is you reference a lot of numbers. What is the
Yes.
significance of numbers? Why would they matter? And for my own, I'm just like, I know there's astrology and these but why are numbers so important?
A lot of things, a lot of even our life, how it is going to go, the things which we'll choose is encrypted in our date of birth. Let's say, and everything around us, if you decode them, if you decode even our name has a meaning. If you decode the name in numbers, it has a meaning and it has an energy. So it's very important to know the numbers as well. In real estate, we always say you need to know your numbers. And it's because this is basically our signature, who we are, what we do, the way we do it, the way we choose what to eat, what to wear, the way we choose our passion, what is our mission, what is how other people see us, what is our manifestation on earth. There are many things that I can tell you from numbers only. And there are a lot of new sciences now developing across the globe. It becomes more to so numbers help us to navigate through life easier, just to be very specific. So let's say somebody comes to me and they say, I'm here, I don't know what to do, I want to grow my business, but nothing works. And I'm looking at their numbers and I'm telling them this is because you are in your last year, you're in your personal year 9, and this is when you should focus on yourself and on your health. And then you can prepare, you can build the systems, just prepare them for launch. And then in a few months' time, you can go. That's it.
Yeah. Interesting. I really enjoyed talking with you, and because I know you help clients, and it was really a fascinating discussion about the work that you do to help clients grow and scale their businesses, succeed in relationships, succeed in their finances and their health as well. So how can people reach out to you and check out your socials, your work, and look into working with you?
Yes, I will leave you my phone number and there's an email as well. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you message me on LinkedIn, I will always reply. And then it's basically just giving me a call or messaging me and setting up the meeting. It's
Mhm.
much easier.
Yeah, I love that. And for all the audience, Anastasia's resources will be in the links, and reach out to her, give her socials a like and follow. And thanks so much for coming on.